Let's start by understanding what a continuance actually is. In the legal world, a continuance refers to a request to postpone or delay a court proceeding to a later date. This can apply to trials, hearings, or any other scheduled court events. The purpose of a continuance is to give one or both parties more time to prepare, gather evidence, or address unforeseen circumstances. It's a common part of the legal process, but it's not granted automatically. Judges consider several factors before approving a continuance, and the reasons for requesting one must usually be valid and well supported. So, why might someone need a continuance? And how does the process work? A continuance is a formal legal term that means the postponement of a court case or hearing to a future date. This delay can be requested by either the defense or the prosecution, and sometimes even by the judge. The main goal is to ensure fairness and allow both sides enough time to adequately prepare their cases. Continuances are not unique to criminal cases. They can also occur in civil matters, family law, and other legal proceedings. The process for requesting a continuance is typically outlined in court rules, and it often involves submitting a written motion explaining the reasons for the request. Let's look at some common reasons why a continuance might be necessary. There are several legitimate reasons why a party might request a continuance. One of the most common is the need for additional time to prepare for trial, especially if new evidence has come to light or if a key witness is unavailable. Sometimes, attorneys may need more time to review documents, consult with experts, or conduct further investigation. Illness, emergencies, or scheduling conflicts can also justify a continuance. In some cases, a party may need time to secure legal representation or to respond to unexpected developments in the case. Judges will weigh these reasons carefully before deciding whether to grant the request. Both the defense and the prosecution have the right to request a continuance, but the judge can also initiate one if necessary. For example, if the court's schedule is overloaded, or if there are procedural issues that need to be resolved, the judge may decide to postpone the proceedings. In civil cases, either party can file a motion for continuance, and in family law matters, it's not uncommon for one side to need more time to gather evidence or prepare arguments. Regardless of who makes the request, the process typically involves a formal motion and a hearing where both sides can present their views. To request a continuance, a party must usually file a motion with the court. This motion outlines the reasons for the delay and provides supporting evidence or documentation. For example, if a key witness is unavailable, the motion might include a statement explaining the witness's importance and the reason for their absence. The opposing party is typically given a chance to respond, and the judge will consider both sides before making a decision. The process is designed to ensure transparency and fairness, preventing unnecessary delays while still accommodating legitimate needs. When requesting a continuance, it's important to provide as much supporting evidence as possible. This might include medical records, affidavits, or correspondence that demonstrates why the delay is necessary. Courts are more likely to grant a continuance when the request is well documented and clearly justified. For instance, if an attorney is ill, a doctor's note can help substantiate the claim. If a witness is unavailable, travel records or other proof may be required. The goal is to show the court that the request is made in good faith and not simply to delay the proceedings. Ultimately, the decision to grant or deny a continuance rests with the judge. Judges have broad discretion in these matters and will consider the specific circumstances of each case. They may weigh factors such as the reason for the request, the potential impact on the other party, and the overall interests of justice. If a judge believes the request is justified and will not unduly prejudice the other side, they are more likely to approve it. However, if the request appears to be a tactic to delay the case without good reason, it may be denied. The timing of a continuance request is crucial. Courts generally expect parties to make such requests as soon as the need arises. Waiting until the last minute can be viewed unfavorably, especially if it disrupts the court's schedule or inconveniences the other party. Early requests, supported by clear reasons and evidence, are more likely to be granted. If an emergency arises unexpectedly, the court may still consider a late request, but the party must explain why the delay in seeking a continuance was unavoidable. Continuances can be requested in a wide variety of legal cases. Criminal cases often see requests for more time to prepare a defense or to locate witnesses. Civil cases, such as contract disputes or personal injury claims, may require delays for discovery or settlement negotiations. Family law cases, including divorce and child custody matters, sometimes need extra time for evaluations or mediation. No matter the type of case, the underlying principles for granting a continuance remain the same: fairness, preparation, and justice. In criminal cases, a continuance can be critical for ensuring a fair trial. The defense may need more time to investigate evidence, interview witnesses, or prepare legal arguments. The prosecution might request a delay if new evidence surfaces or if a key witness becomes unavailable. The stakes are high in criminal cases, so judges are careful to balance the rights of the accused with the need for a timely resolution. Both sides must demonstrate that the continuance is necessary and not simply a tactic to delay justice. Civil cases often involve complex issues that require time to resolve. Parties may request a continuance to complete discovery, negotiate settlements, or address procedural matters. For example, if new documents are discovered late in the process, both sides may need additional time to review and respond. Judges in civil cases are mindful of the need to keep cases moving, but they also recognize the importance of thorough preparation. A well-supported motion for continuance can help ensure that both parties have a fair opportunity to present their case. Family law cases, such as divorce or child custody disputes, can be emotionally charged and factually complex. Continuances may be needed to allow time for psychological evaluations, mediation sessions, or the gathering of financial records. Judges in family law matters are particularly sensitive to the impact of delays on children and families, so they carefully consider whether a continuance is truly necessary. The goal is to ensure that all relevant information is available before making important decisions that affect people's lives. Sometimes, emergencies arise that make it impossible to proceed as scheduled. This could include sudden illness, accidents, or other unforeseen events. In these situations, courts may grant an emergency continuance even on short notice. However, the party requesting the delay must still provide as much documentation as possible and explain why the emergency could not have been anticipated. Judges are generally sympathetic to genuine emergencies but will scrutinize the request to ensure it's not being abused. If one party requests a continuance, the other party has the right to oppose it. This is usually done by filing a written response with the court, explaining why the delay would be unfair or unnecessary. The opposing party might argue that the request is simply a tactic to stall the case or that it would cause undue hardship. The judge will consider both sides before making a decision, aiming to balance the need for fairness with the efficient administration of justice. When deciding whether to grant a continuance, courts consider several factors. These include the reason for the request, the length of the delay, the impact on the other party, and the overall effect on the court schedule. Judges also look at whether the requesting party has acted in good faith and whether the delay will help ensure a fair outcome. If the request is well supported and reasonable, it's more likely to be approved. However, if it appears to be a tactic to delay the case, the judge may deny it. While continuances can be helpful, they also have potential downsides. Delays can increase costs, prolong stress for the parties involved, and slow down the resolution of important issues. In some cases, witnesses may become unavailable, or evidence may become stale over time. Courts are aware of these risks and try to avoid unnecessary continuances. That's why it's important to request a delay only when truly necessary and to be prepared to explain why it's justified. Unfortunately, some parties may try to abuse the continuance process to delay justice or gain a strategic advantage. Courts are vigilant about preventing such abuse. Judges may deny requests that appear to be made in bad faith or that are unsupported by evidence. Repeated or frivolous requests can lead to sanctions or other penalties. The legal system is designed to balance the need for flexibility with the need for timely resolution, and abuse of continuances undermines that balance. To avoid having a continuance request denied, it's important to follow proper procedures and provide strong supporting evidence. Make the request as early as possible, explain the reasons clearly, and include all necessary documentation. Be honest about the need for a delay, and avoid exaggerating or fabricating reasons. If the opposing party objects, be prepared to address their concerns in court. By demonstrating good faith and respect for the court's time, you increase your chances of having your request granted. A typical motion for continuance includes several key elements. It starts with a heading that identifies the case and the parties involved. The body of the motion explains the reasons for the request, provides supporting evidence, and cites relevant legal rules or precedents. The motion concludes with a request for a specific new date and the signature of the requesting party or their attorney. Courts may have specific forms or requirements, so it's important to check local rules before filing. Attorneys play a key role in the continuance process. They are responsible for identifying when a delay is necessary, preparing the motion, and presenting arguments to the court. Good attorneys communicate with their clients about the need for a continuance and keep them informed about the process. They also work to resolve scheduling conflicts and negotiate with opposing counsel when possible. Effective advocacy can make a significant difference in whether a continuance is granted. If you are representing yourself in court, you can still request a continuance. The process is similar to that for attorneys. You must file a written motion, explain your reasons, and provide supporting evidence. Many courts offer resources or self-help centers to assist self-represented parties with the process. It's important to follow all court rules and deadlines to avoid having your request denied. Being organized and prepared can help ensure your request is taken seriously. After a motion for continuance is filed, the court will review the request and any responses from the other party. In some cases, the judge may hold a hearing to allow both sides to present their argument. The judge will then issue a ruling, either granting or denying the continuance. If granted, the court will set a new date for the proceeding. If denied, the case will proceed as originally scheduled. The court's decision is typically final, although appeals may be possible in rare cases. If a continuance request is denied, the party may have limited options for appeal. Appeals are generally only available if the denial resulted in a significant injustice or violated legal rights. The process for appealing a denial varies by jurisdiction and is often complex. It's important to consult with an attorney if you believe your request was wrongly denied. In most cases, the court's decision on a continuance is considered final and not subject to further review. Granting a continuance can have a significant impact on the timeline of a case. Delays can push back trial dates, extend discovery periods, and affect the availability of witnesses. This can be especially challenging in cases with tight deadlines or urgent issues. Courts try to minimize the impact of continuances by rescheduling cases as efficiently as possible. Parties should be aware of the potential for delays and plan accordingly. Continuances can also affect settlement negotiations. Sometimes, a delay gives parties more time to reach an agreement outside of court. In other cases, it may prolong uncertainty and make settlement more difficult. Attorneys often use the time provided by a continuance to negotiate with the other side, exchange information, or explore alternative dispute resolution options. The impact on settlement depends on the specific circumstances of the case. The availability of witnesses is a common reason for requesting a continuance. If a key witness is unable to attend the scheduled hearing or trial, a delay may be necessary to ensure their testimony can be heard. Courts require proof of the witness's importance and the reason for their absence. In some cases, the court may allow the witness to testify remotely or by deposition instead of granting a full continuance. The goal is to balance the need for complete evidence with the need to keep the case moving. Sometimes, new evidence is discovered close to the trial date, making it necessary to request a continuance. This allows both sides time to review the evidence, conduct additional investigation, and adjust their strategies. Courts are generally willing to grant a continuance in these situations, provided the evidence is genuinely new and material to the case. However, parties must act promptly and provide a clear explanation for why the evidence was not discovered earlier. Scheduling conflicts are another common reason for requesting a continuance. Attorneys may have multiple cases scheduled at the same time, or a party may have unavoidable personal or professional commitments. Courts generally try to accommodate reasonable scheduling conflicts, especially when they are communicated early and supported by documentation. However, repeated or last-minute requests may be viewed skeptically. If a party needs more time to secure legal representation, a continuance may be appropriate. Courts recognize the importance of having an attorney, especially in complex or high-stakes cases. The party must explain why additional time is needed and show that they are actively seeking counsel. Judges are generally sympathetic to these requests, but they also expect parties to act diligently and not use the process to delay the case unnecessarily. Discovery is the process of exchanging information and evidence before trial. Sometimes, discovery takes longer than expected, or new issues arise that require additional time. A continuance can provide the extra time needed to complete discovery and ensure both sides are fully prepared. Courts are generally supportive of continuances for discovery purposes as long as the request is reasonable and not intended to delay the case unnecessarily. Expert witnesses can play a crucial role in many cases, but their schedules are often tight. If an expert is unavailable for the scheduled trial date, a continuance may be necessary to secure their testimony. Courts require proof of the expert's importance and efforts to accommodate their schedule. The goal is to ensure that all relevant evidence is presented without causing unnecessary delays. Sometimes, procedural issues arise that make it impossible to proceed as scheduled. This could include problems with service of process, missing documents, or other technical issues. A continuance allows time to resolve these problems and ensure the case can move forward fairly. Courts are generally willing to grant continuances for legitimate procedural issues, but parties must act promptly and provide clear explanations. Mediation is a common way to resolve disputes without going to trial. If parties are engaged in mediation and need more time to reach an agreement, a continuance may be appropriate. Courts generally support efforts to settle cases out of court and are willing to grant reasonable delays for mediation. However, parties must show that progress is being made and that the delay is likely to result in a resolution. In some cases, a party may request a continuance while an appeal is pending. This can help avoid unnecessary proceedings if the outcome of the appeal could affect the case. Courts are cautious about granting continuances for appeals, as they want to avoid indefinite delays. The requesting party must show that the appeal is likely to have a significant impact and that the delay is justified. Settlement conferences are another opportunity for parties to resolve their disputes without a trial. If a settlement conference is scheduled close to the trial date, a continuance may be needed to allow time for negotiations. Courts generally support these efforts and may grant a short delay to facilitate settlement. However, parties must show that they are actively working toward an agreement and not simply using the process to delay the case. Courts have limited resources and must manage their schedules carefully. Granting too many continuances can strain court resources and delay justice for other cases. Judges consider the impact of a continuance on the court's calendar and may deny requests that would cause significant disruption. Parties should be mindful of the court's workload when requesting a delay and be prepared to explain why their case deserves special consideration. In some cases, the public interest may weigh against granting a continuance. High-profile cases or those involving urgent issues may need to proceed without delay. Judges consider the broader impact of a delay on the community, the legal system, and the parties involved. If the public interest is at stake, the court may be less likely to grant a continuance, even if the request is otherwise reasonable. Complex cases often require more time to prepare and present. If a case involves multiple parties, extensive evidence, or complicated legal issues, a continuance may be necessary to ensure a fair trial. Judges are generally understanding of the need for extra time in complex cases, but they also expect parties to use the time efficiently and avoid unnecessary delays. Judicial efficiency is a key concern for courts. Judges strive to keep cases moving and avoid unnecessary delays. When considering a continuance, they weigh the need for a delay against the importance of resolving cases promptly. Parties requesting a continuance should be prepared to explain how the delay will contribute to a fair and just outcome, rather than simply prolonging the process. Advances in technology have made it easier for courts to handle scheduling conflicts and witness availability. Remote hearings, video testimony, and electronic filing can reduce the need for continuances. Courts may encourage parties to use technology to resolve issues that would otherwise require a delay. However, not all cases are suitable for remote proceedings, and courts will consider the specific needs of each case. Every court has its own rules and procedures for requesting a continuance. These rules may specify deadlines, required forms, and the types of evidence needed. It's important to review the local court rules before filing a motion for continuance. Failure to follow the rules can result in denial of the request, even if the reasons are valid. Attorneys and self-represented parties alike must pay close attention to procedural requirements. Effective communication between parties in the court is essential when requesting a continuance. Parties should notify the court and the other side as soon as possible and provide clear, honest explanations for the request. Open communication can help avoid misunderstandings and increase the chances of a successful outcome. Judges appreciate parties who are respectful of the court's time and transparent about their needs. Case management is an important part of the legal process. Courts use case management tools to track deadlines, monitor progress, and schedule hearings. Continuances can disrupt case management plans, so judges are careful to grant them only when necessary. Parties should be aware of how a continuance will affect the overall management of their case and be prepared to adjust their strategies accordingly. To sum up, a continuance is a request to delay a court proceeding, and it's a tool designed to promote fairness and justice. Valid reasons for a continuance include the need for more preparation, witness availability, emergencies, and procedural issues. The process involves filing a motion, providing supporting evidence, and convincing the judge that the delay is justified. Judges have broad discretion and will consider the impact on all parties, the court, and the public interest. Abuse of continuances is discouraged, and parties should always act in good faith. Understanding the process and requirements for requesting a continuance can help you navigate the legal system more effectively. Whether you're an attorney or representing yourself, being prepared, organized, and honest is key. Always review local court rules, communicate openly with the court and the other party, and provide strong evidence to support your request. Remember, the goal of a continuance is to ensure a fair and just outcome for everyone involved. By following the proper procedures, you can help the court make the best decision for your case.